Here we go again. Married at First Sight UK. Episode 6, Part 1. So we're now on to the honeymoons. In this review, I talk about Jordon and Alexis, and Tayah and Adam. Starting with Jordon and Alexis. These two have gone to the Maldives. They look very happy from the get-go, but we're on holiday. Who isn't happy going on holiday? This is a time for them to really get to know each other. So let's see where this takes us. It all started off on a good note. When they were on the beach and they had the band around them playing, performing, and Mr. Jordon, never seen him look so happy, was busting some moves, winding his waist. I thought, wow, so there is a different side to you. But there's always a but. He did say that he's still looking for the spark because he hasn't got it yet. And he's wondering whether Alexis is going to be just a friend to him. And then on top of that, Alexis did say that he hasn't kissed or hugged her since their wedding day. So that's interesting to know. Fast forward to the evening where they had a nice romantic cocktail at the beach. It all started off very romantic and then it went downhill. He asked her something like, "Where's your head at?" or "How do you think it's going?" Something along those lines. And she was saying, yeah, she's still looking to get to know him as the holiday progresses. When she said that, I could see by his face and the way he gulped, his mouth was dry. He was thinking, how am I going to say this without her getting upset? And then his answer to her was, well, I'm seeing it more on a friend zone. Her face. Oof. You know she was seething. And then he had the audacity to ask her, why do you think that is? Is this man for real? She threw the question right back at him. Why do you think that is? My man was dumbstruck. He had no words, no answers. He was squirming in his seat. She came back with something like, I'm not here to waste time. Am I even your type? Something like that, she said. He then went on to say that he did find her attractive, but his normal type is the blonde hair, blue eyes, tall, tanned. He then went on to say not to let that put you off. Is this guy for real? Come on, is he for real? After that conversation, you could see that she felt deflated. She was frustrated. She's now thinking, where do we go from here? He says he's still willing to try, but I can't see it. I'm very much like her. Where do we go from here? The following day, they spent most of the morning apart. I think it was later on in the afternoon before they came together and took on an activity. She was shitting it. This was going to be her worst nightmare. She started effing and blinding when they were on this water activity. She wasn't feeling it. He just kept on laughing. She just kept on cussing. He was oblivious to how she was really feeling, because he thought it was probably some form of banter. But when he started hearing her continuously effing and blinding, it was only then that he thought, I'm not liking the sound of her voice. I don't like the way she's talking to me. All that effing and blinding was her showing that she was afraid, and he did nothing to reassure her. But on the other hand, I can also understand where he's coming from. The effing and blinding isn't working for me or him. If she had turned around and properly said to him, I'm scared, genuinely said she was scared, he would have responded, I'm sure, very differently. You can see he's the type of guy that doesn't like all that swearing, and then on top of that, the attitude that goes with it. As you already know, this did not go too well. As the honeymoon was progressing, you could see they were getting more distant. She was feeling very vulnerable, feeling rejected. There were moments she said that she could cry. Oh, poor girl. Oh, I wouldn't want to be so far away from family in that situation. They did, however, come together one evening. It could have been the same day or the following day. I have no idea. To talk about that particular argument. You could see that she'd been crying, and her body language showed that she wasn't in the mood to be effed with. In that conversation, it was just a repeat of earlier in regards to her saying that she would have liked some reassurance on the water sport instead of him laughing at her. He's saying he wasn't laughing at her, he was laughing at the situation, not particularly at her. She had taken it the wrong way. She accepted his apology in regard to that situation, and then it went on to the situation about the swearing. He described her as a nice girl, then said to her, "You don't need to speak like that." And she was like, "Oh wow." He then accused her of swearing too much, and she said, "Swearing too much? I've sworn at you once, darling." He was stuck for words at that time. I could already see where this was going. It went left. When talking to the camera, he mentioned about her being stubborn and reluctant to listen, and that he can't imagine any guy sticking around with a woman with that type of attitude and behaviour. Ooh, that hurt. She described him as being in cuckoo land, and then she said something behind that. Oh God, what was it? And that he's not used to someone like her. He's used to girls that say, "Yes, Jordan. No, Jordan." And she said something like, "That's not me, babe." That was just embarrassing. And that conversation ended with her saying, "This is the way I am. This is the way I talk. And I'm not going to change that for no one." He then got off his seat and walked off, muttering under his breath. And it ended with her showing the cameraman that she had taken her ring off, and she doesn't know where it's going to go from here. Moving on to the final day of the honeymoon, they did come together, I believe, over drinks, and she was discussing about her attitude and how she speaks. I know upsets him. She found him too chilled, whilst he found her too hot-headed. And Alexis was trying to say that we need to come to some sort of middle ground with this. Oh, this is quite tiring. When he spoke to the camera afterwards, he turned around and said, "I'm just tired." Even though they were talking about coming to some sort of middle ground, you could see that he was just not in it. He didn't make any eye contact with her. No, tell a lie. Tell a lie, tell a lie. 20% of the time he made eye contact. The rest of the time he was either looking up, looking away, looking forward, but never looking at her. In conclusion, the last thing she said when speaking to the camera is that she's still willing to try. She's got her ring, she put her ring back on, and she's still willing to try. Now, the last thing he said was that he's exhausted. Really, he's had enough. He can't wait to get back to England. He said he can't wait to get to the dinner party to meet up with the other guys and also the other girls. And then he said, if wife swapping is an option right now, count me in. Yes, you heard him. That's what he said. Oof. Oof. I've got nothing more to say. We're just going to have to wait and see now. Moving on to Tayah and Adam. These two have both gone to Sandals Antigua. Know it well. Used to work for these guys. But anyway, I can see with this couple that I'm going to find it hard to find anything wrong here. I believe this review is going to be very short. These two have started off on a good note. They are already very lovey-dovey, hugs, kisses, can't stop touching each other. Ooh, that's what you call a honeymoon. That's a honeymoon. There was one of the days where they took an excursion on horseback in the sea. And at one point they took a break and they were sitting on the beach. I remember Adam saying to the camera that this is how I'm presuming my parents met, without social media, where it's just the two of us just talking the old-fashioned way and getting to know each other. Oh yes, old school. Know it well. Oh, I miss those days. And there was a point where Tayah was talking about her past relationships. She mentioned about her first relationship being very good, and from there on in, it's been bad. And then for him to come along at the time he came, he's been good for her. He's been very caring, very loving, just what she needed. She described him as being very natural in this relationship. Even though he's never been in a relationship before, this is just natural for him. And she's loving it. He's also so grateful that they've picked the right person for him. It hasn't been any hard work. It's been very natural, very organic. Yeah. Later on at the hotel, when speaking to the camera, I'm presuming the question was whether they had done the deed. Adam was very much like, I don't kiss and tell. Now Tayah, she was just straight honest. She said, we've been shagging like rabbits. Yes, exactly what she said. She wasn't ashamed to say. She was blushing while saying it. On their final night, they had a lovely meal by the pool, and he was getting all gooey. Yeah, all gooey-eyed. She was getting all giggly and giddy. Yes, it was that type of romantic meal. They just can't believe how they've been put together and how it's all just gone so easy for them. He said all the right things, and same with her. She can't believe how they've been put together, and he actually went as far as to tell her that he loved her. Oh, yeah. He said the words. L-O-V-E. She was totally gobsmacked, absolutely in shock. She couldn't believe those words came out of his mouth. After the initial shock, she then said the same. She couldn't wait for them to spend the rest of their lives together. Those were her words. When talking to the camera, he described Tayah as his first, and hopefully, and then he took back his words, hopefully, and my last love. This guy is not here to play games. And then when Tayah was talking to the camera, she started talking about how people will talk about whirlwind romances, and she never believed in them until now. The night ended off with her cracking a joke, saying, "Let's make a baby." Yeah, she did say that. Whether she meant it, I don't know. But in time, I know that's what she's looking for. So, that ends my review. So if you like what you've heard, please like, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.